If you like this video and want to see more, then please subscribe to the channel. So we're going to have a look at the brakes on my 2004 Jaguar XKR. These are fitted with the upgraded Brembo brakes, and they're not actually in too bad condition. The discs aren't too well worn. I do get a slight judder, but I don't know quite what's causing that. But I've decided I'm going to change the brake discs and the pads. So the first thing, you need to get the pads out. You have to take two dowel pins out here. In order to do that, there are some little retaining pins here which stops the pins moving out. And you take this backing plate off. But in order to get the pads out themselves, especially if there's a slight lip on here, you're going to have to spread out the pads that are in there. So what you can actually do, if you notice just down here, there's a good gap there which is away from the pad itself. You can get a screwdriver in there and just prise it out gently, and it expands everything out. But one thing you've got to be mindful of is how much fluid you've got in the reservoir, because if it's already full, especially if your brakes are really well worn, you're risking overflowing the reservoir. So first thing I'm going to do is just get my screwdriver in there and move the pads out slightly. As you can see, there is now a gap either side of the pads, so that should be good. So I'm going to undo these, or take these two clips out and knock these pins out. See, all they are is a little circlip pin. Come out really easily. So next we'll knock the pins out. I'm going to start off with a slightly bigger punch that's going to go through. And then get a small punch that's going to go through and knock everything out of the way. Push that in for safety, and that will come out. Sometimes what can happen if you don't hold it in is when you release the top pin, the spring allows this to fly away, which can obviously be slightly dangerous and also bad for your paintwork if it hits it. So one brake pad, loads of meat on that one. That's the next one. So to fit new brake pads, it's always good. You just get a little wire brush and clean up all the areas, get rid of all the brake dust. And I'm actually going to change the discs on this. I'm going to change a lot of the bushes, etc., so they're not going back now. But in order to reverse fit them, or in order to fit new ones, on all the contact areas, you put some lubricant, some brake lubricant that stops everything squealing. I tend to put them down the sides here as well, just anywhere that it's going to contact, but obviously you don't get anything onto the mating surface or the braking surface, because that can cause issues. So if you're going to remove the disc, you have to remove the actual caliper itself. And that's held on around the back by two bolts. One at the top that I've already partially undone, and one a little bit further down. So these are 19mm in size. Let's see how easy they are to remove. And the nut. Well, that was a struggle. I managed to get these both loose. I don't know if you can see, there's one bolt at the top and one at the bottom. So let's take those out now. There's one. And that's two. So you can move these out of the way. It's best to tie wrap it in position because obviously you've got the brake line attached and you don't want to put that under any stress. But what I'll do quickly, I'll just show you how to take the discs off, which is really easy. So what you can do, of course, and would have made more sense if you know you've taken the disc off before you've taken the caliper and pads out, you can get someone to put their foot on the brake and that will stop this turning. I've wedged this in and it can really come out very easily. So all these really do is locate it in the correct position. So they're never done up particularly tight, at least they shouldn't be. There you go, it's come off. Now what I have noticed when moving this, I don't know if you can see that back bush, see that's shot completely. So I'm changing them anyway, but that needs changing. Right, so in order to take the caliper off completely, I need to take out the brake pipe itself. And on this, it's just a, it's got like a bolt head on it, and the bolt's got a hole in it. I'll show you when I get it out. And then I need to drain the line. Okay, I'll leave that to drain. The caliper itself isn't that heavy. So if we have a look underneath at the caliper, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 cylinders, whereas most cars have one, most calipers have one. So that's where the brake fluid goes in. And as you can see, the two sides joined together by this pipe, which compresses both sides. So I'll give them a clean up. Need to get that inside and put that on something to drain so it doesn't go everywhere. So in order to refit a disc and pad, you actually do things in the reverse order. You need to clean this face here. It makes it easier to get off next time, and if you can put a little bit of grease on the areas that you can see that are corroded, again that will make it a lot easier for next time. And with the amount of corrosion that's there, I'm wondering if some of that wasn't flat enough and that's the cause of the wobble I've got. But I think this is end of part one for the suspension strip down. As I say, I'm going to change every single bush here, and hopefully that will improve the ride drastically.